Call this meeting to order and establish a quorum. Tim Nycorner, Jeff Howard, Todd Summers, Jerry Stevens, and Abigail Beadle. Also in attendance here is our bookkeeper, Mrs. Nancy Pepper. Thank everybody. Who do we have out here? Debbie, you're alone?
Looks that way.
You're it? Okay.
I'm on an island all by myself. We're going to start out with, since they came in from San Antonio, with Armstrong Bond Associates, that they're going to present our 2022-2023 audit and go over that with us. Good to see you again.
Okay, yeah, I'll stand as soon as
Carl,
myself.
Carl, always read your last name.
Yeah, it's Carl Gearing.
Carl Gearing.
Armstrong Bond Associates. We performed the 2023 audit. And I'm going to sit for the rest of it to navigate my computer and go to the PowerPoint.
Sure.
I printed one copy out for y'all as well in case you don't want to look at the TV. Okay, this is the Devine VFD financial statements as of September 30th, 2023. This is just a kind of a quick, short PowerPoint on the financial highlights, and then we'll kind of go into some of the findings that we had for the audit. This is essentially just what is in the table of contents, in case you're wondering what is actually inside of the report. The auditor's report is where you have your opinion letter. It's page 1 and 2 of the actual report. The opinion, you can almost think of it as how well the audit did. Although it's not a grading system, there's a good opinion and a bad opinion. Devine VFD received what we call an unmodified opinion. That's the best opinion we can give on an audit. And so even though there's findings and even though there's serious issues, we can still give a clean opinion on the financials if the financial statements are free of material misstatements. And so if they're able to substantiate what we know, even if what we know is maybe in the case fraud, it's still substantiated and can get an accurate financial statement. So in that regard, they did pass the opinion, but we do have findings that we'll go over later on. And this is saying that the purpose of the audit is to form that opinion. The purpose of an audit not necessarily is not to look for fraud, although we are aware to be looking out for it if we come across it or if it's mentioned to us. We can adjust our audit procedures based on that risk and investigate further. And that's the case with this audit. You know, we were told about fraudulent activities. We were given a report internally done by the department to look and investigate, and we did our procedures around that as well, in addition to the normal procedures that we do in an audit. So it did modify it a bit, and we did a little bit of a deeper dive. But the purpose of my audit is not necessarily, no audit will be just to look only for fraud. It's to eventually give you an opinion on whether or not the financials are materially correct. So let's just go over some of the financial highlights first. This is the first statement. It's essentially your balance sheet, but in nonprofits we call it the statement of financial position. I made some notes out to the side just for anything that kind of caught my eye. You know, cash and cash equivalents did increase from the prior year by about $113,000. The receivable that you see there is just a receivable a payment from ESD2 that hasn't come in yet. Prepaids, that's all insurance. Accounts payable, that's mainly for Metro Fire equipment that they needed to pay at year end but just hadn't paid yet. They'd received the goods. And then you can see at the bottom the net assets around here. This is your equity, your residual, your what's left over year after year. In nonprofit accounting, we call those with donor restrictions or without, and that's the undesignated portion, without. And then the ESD funds we're restricting because they are restricted for the use. You guys gave them those funds for an intended purpose, and so we do restrict that. And so at the year end, their total equity or net assets, to use nonprofit language, is $199,211. And if you have questions at any point, please stop me and we'll ask and discuss. I like it when it's more of a discussion. You guys don't have to wait to see it. Okay, this next slide, it starts with statement of activities. You can think of it like an income statement. I'm just starting with the revenues. I think I have the expenses on the next slide. It was brought to our attention a concern that maybe ESD funds were being used to supplement and fund fundraising activities. So we did look into that as well as payroll activities. And what we found was, even though sometimes funds cross bank accounts and we kind of could see and parse them out, The fundraising activities were paid for through other resources that the volunteer fire department made. You know, their school revenues or their classes. They were able to have enough revenue generation to pay for the fundraising so that it didn't necessarily could be attributed to ESD funding. And so I said fundraising revenue for the year, and we actually have a note in the back, was $42,000, and fundraising expenses were $27,517. They're net on the financial statements there on that second line to the bottom. Okay, so here is actually the statement of functional expenses. This is another required statement in nonprofits. The expense line is just a subcategory. This kind of really expands on what the department spent, and we are breaking it out between your program, which is firefighting and prevention, and general administrative. I don't have much to talk about on the expenses themselves, but if you guys want details on any specific category, just let me know, and we can get you a summary of any one category of what is making up the expense category itself. And then management kind of gives us guidance on how to split between firefighting and admin, and we test that for reasonableness as well. This next slide is a liquidity note that's in the back of the financial statements. It just shows how, current assets to meet current liabilities and how much cash is left over to meet needs. I also like to look at the net assets of the company or the department, and I divide the expenses that keep them operating for a full year, divide that by 12, and divide that into net assets to see how many months of equity does the department have if they stop receiving ESD funds, if they stop going and doing classes, how many months could they survive without any other funding. And I calculated at this time in 23, and I know it's a couple years ago, a little update, they at that time had 4.3 months. And if I was talking to the board tonight, I would say, you're on the right track. You ultimately, there's not a ton of guidance for nonprofits, governments, it's anywhere from 2 to 6 months, but in this case, 4.3, it feels like it's in the right direction as far as funding, because although you guys provide funds, they never know if, another large expense is going to come and if they'll be able to get the funding from the board. This last slide is coming directly from the financials. It's just there so we can kind of talk about it. We did again receive a report internally from the VFD. What we looked into was first what the report found to kind of go over and see how did the fraud occur. And it was fairly straightforward. It wasn't that somebody was trying to hide necessarily. They were, in this first year, they were mainly just paying themselves outside of the contract. The bookkeeper was paying themselves outside of the contract in additional to what she was supposed to be paid. There was, I think, a couple expenses that Xavier found that were either not approved or misallocated, but it wasn't anything substantial, and it was still in the report that we were provided internally. So this year was the start of the activity. So in the current 2023 year, it was misappropriations totaling $11,000. However, we did expand upon the note because we do know from the internal investigation that in the future year, which is currently under audit in 24, there could be an additional $65,000 before the misconduct was detected. On another note though, an insurance claim was filed for the loss and the full amount of misappropriated funds was subsequently reversed by the insurer. And we did not find any evidence of additional misappropriation outside of what was identified. So that's the end of the PowerPoint, but we do have 2 loose leaf papers inside of the audit report that you guys have. I'll go over the first one just really quickly. It should say, let's see, how do I identify them? It's the one that does not say communication of material weakness. So if you see communication of material weakness, we'll talk about that one in a second. This first one is called the governance letter. A lot of this is boilerplate. The part that I wanted to talk to you about is on page 3. So this is where we put kind of minor deficiencies. These could be also suggestions. If we see a way to improve how they're doing in their business or their capabilities or their internal controls, we'll offer up suggestions to you, management, and the board. But also if we find deficiencies, we'll put them here. And so Xavier did find several instances of late payments. And so that's a deficiency in internal controls. There should be something preventing late payments from happening. And so he's written them up for that. It's kind of the minor one, and so it goes on this letter. But that being said, the second letter is called the material weakness letter. I'll just try to summarize them as best I can so that way we don't have to do all of the reading. But the first one is bank reconciliations. They weren't being performed during the year. In fact, Xavier had to reconcile most of one of the cash accounts from the start to finish just to even get us to this point. I think that caused a lot of the delay was just the timing of that, trying to work with management and get those reconciliations. But those are a really key control because it's tough when you're committing fraud to be able to then reconcile the bank because you have to put it somewhere. And so if a board is really paying attention to the bank reconciliation and saying, one, is it being done timely? And two, just quickly kind of looking over what's cleared and seeing what that looks like, it's possible that some of this could have been caught earlier. Especially if it's an external party committing the fraud and you don't know about it. Bank rec is a really useful tool for the board to help deter fraud, and that was not being performed at the time. The second one on the next page is about pay schedules. So we weren't able to get a clear pay schedule that substantiated the pay to the fire chief. We were finding that, if I'm remembering this correctly, we were finding that he was paid $70,000, but he was getting 24 biweekly checks of $2,500. So the expected compensation then would have been about $60,000. So we don't know how he got to $70,000, but we don't have a pay scale or any approved minutes from the board that would substantiate it. So I'm not saying that we know that it's necessarily an overpayment, we just don't know. There's nothing to substantiate what the fire chief was supposed to be paid that year. So we're suggesting that a pay schedule be immediately adopted, approved, and followed, so that way there's a paper trail. Check signers. So the
excuse me one second.
Sure.
So if we know that he was paid 70, but we can only prove 60, how do we know he was paid 70?
We can't necessarily prove 60. So he was paid 70 per QuickBooks. We went to his summary that shows us his pay, and it's 70. But it looks like it was following a pattern of being paid bi-weekly $2,500. And so somewhere in there's extra pay. We don't know if that's overtime or what. There's no approved anything. There's no mention of anything in the minutes. There's definitely not a schedule. Maybe they approved a salary schedule. They realized that they were making a mistake and underpaying him, and they fixed it, right? There's just no possibility of that.
Okay, I got you. So it's just kind of the opposite of what I was thinking. Somewhere it says his salary is 70, but all you were seeing was 60.
No, yeah, there was the opposite.
Okay.
We just didn't know what they were supposed to be paid.
Just
Okay.
for the bi-weekly is also 26,
Right, did I say
not 24.
24?
Right.
Okay, so then maybe he was paid bi-monthly, and it was 24. But either way, Xavier had added them up, and I guess that's how he came up with the estimate. Okay, so check signers. So another reason why fraudulent activity like this could occur in this environment, or it would be easier to perpetrate, is that the same person who's responsible for entering transactions, creating the checks, is also a check signer. You usually want to separate those duties because the person who has all the control, it's easier for them to cover up what they're doing. So you always want to have segregation of duties. And the same with IT controls. We've learned that through the QuickBooks Online that payments can be made. That was news to me. I didn't really realize that QuickBooks had that capability. And that, I guess, is when Xavier found a small amount of unapproved charges, about $518. And it was done because they could bypass even the check process and just directly pay things out of QuickBooks. So you want to check the controls to make sure that capability is turned off or that that person is prohibited from doing so. Number 5, revenue controls. I believe this goes back to the classes. You also want to create some sort of controls there where someone signs up and is in charge of the sign-up ability or taking in people who want to do classes from the people that are taking the money. if I'm keeping track of this in Excel and somebody's paying me and they eventually pay me in cash or whatnot, I can easily strike their name from the list and nobody knows that they attended a class. I just give them the certificate and then I have the money. So it's hard to substantiate what should be the true revenue, especially since this was a major revenue source that was able to fund payroll and able to fund the casino night and things like that. It's hard to tell how much the revenue should have been in any one given year when there's only one person controlling the whole process. So we always like to say to kind of always keep separate the person recording and the person either receiving or paying funds. And I believe that's all the controls that we had talked about, but mainly that when we came in and first started the audit, we did notice that there was not a lot of concrete written policy or internal controls. Things were kind of done on the system of like an honor system. And I would say if the VFD continues, that they should really start implementing quickly a lot of controls on all of the different cycles, cash, revenue, expenses. I think in the next audit, again, we'll take a look at the internal report and using that and looking at other expenses through our other analysis and tests. We should have a pretty good idea of, is this everything or not, but our gut is saying that that report is going to conclude all of the misuse of funds.
Okay,
Okay.
that'd be great.
The next one is gonna be a little more dicey, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's just because of the turnover, we lose the history, for better or worse. When you lose somebody, it's hard to recover certain information, but it sounds like Ms. Nancy's got it under control, and we're able to go back to sources too and ask them to kind of duplicate records if they're lost. So hopefully we'll have everything we need.
All right.
Does anyone have any questions for me?
So this is 23, right? That's what
Yes,
this
sir.
is. So you're saying that in this one, there's no fraudulent, but we're not sure that it was this year, is it more so the year after?
Well,
No, there was
11,000.
11,000.
11,000
wasn't it?
11,000, that's what that was?
Yeah, it was just starting.
That's where it started.
Huh? Hold on a minute, everybody, throw me at once. Dang.
Yeah.
So the 11,000 was fraudulent, but they're expecting, because they were told, there's a possible another 65,000 coming up in the 24.
Okay, so that's what I was.
But you could find more.
Yeah, we'll design our procedures to kind of test and see, but the way it's looking like, the person committing it was not really trying to hide anything. They're paying their company directly. But we'll still pull other expenses all around anyways, just to look and substantiate. But yeah, we'll target our procedures based on.
Because you made a comment earlier about the extra activities as far as the fundraisers, like the casino night and stuff like that. You said that it didn't look like those funds were being used, it was not ESD funds, if I understood that correctly.
They generated enough revenue that they didn't need your funds to do the casino night and the other
They
operations.
presented to this board a document, a report that showed that they used ESD funds.
They were able to reclassify them?
That should be
Yeah,
next
so
year, I
they
think.
might have either come from the bank, or I'm not sure exactly what they presented, but they had made enough outside of the ESD funds that it could be classified to where they could fund it themselves, I guess.
Like
is
if
what
you
we're
paid out of
saying.
your checking and then you reimbursed your checking with your savings account?
Sure, and then we were able to separate what the ESD was given and what expenses they have that can attribute to the ESD. So we're able to show like a net
Yeah, I remember
equity that
seeing
says
that.
this amount belongs to the ESD and everything else belongs to the VFD. And mainly what actually belongs to the ESD is the assets. They only had about 2,000 something in the account that related to ESD funds.
Because they were intermingling funds, that's why you
It's
can't
tough.
really say that they did or didn't use ESD funds. You're
Yeah.
just saying that through the intermingling, they generated X number of dollars, we gave them this much, but these X number of dollars would
Could
have covered all
supply,
that.
yeah, so even if they wrote your check directly to them, they made enough and kept it in the bank, and then we're able to just parse out, well, if the ESD gave you this much, what is allowable, and does it cover those expenses? And then how much did they make on this side? Is it allowable, and does it cover their casino night and payroll and things? And they made enough to cover it. So from an accounting standpoint, you're right, even if they showed your report saying it directly came from one specific account, from an audit fund standpoint, they didn't take your restricted funds and misuse them.
I guess the perception is they did.
Yeah, they wouldn't have been in the hole without them.
But I believe that's for this next audit, that document.
Oh, okay.
Well, it could be
I think
24, I
that's-
guess what he's saying.
Yeah, the next audit is one we had questions
So
on
maybe
because of
they
that
need less
document that we were
revenue?
given, so.
Okay, I mean, we'll have to look at that and I'll get with Xavier.
And there were other fundraising activities in 23, 24, which is what he's looking at now.
Right.
Okay.
But to the extent that you all are able to, you kind of help them reclassify funds and make everything come out even if at all
Right.
possible.
Right, because we know, because you guys set standards for what they can't use the funds
Right.
for, so we just say, put all those expenses over here, everything else over here, and what can they afford and not. And so we kind of do a little bit of reclassifying ourselves.
Gotcha.
Because it's all,
I get that.
that's what I'm, you know.
They had enough also to pay payroll? Or did they have to
I
pay payroll?
believe so, when I was, that was the one thing I was looking
Yeah.
for when I was doing the audit, it's been a couple weeks, but I believe all of the payroll is also under, has the funds for it.
It was 90,000.
And even with that, that's gonna be next year too, correct?
Correct.
That
For
would
the, when they started the full-time firefighters?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'll get Xavier and me, we'll work on like a number, like an Excel sheet, and we'll focus specifically on like payroll and fundraising, and try to show you that the two balances they'll cover it with the revenue.
Because in that year, they did not have as much full-time. It's when they went to full-time where
Correct, this
we
one
got
had the
the,
chief, I think, and they paid the contractor,
Yeah.
bookkeeper, but they didn't have that many
Yeah.
full-time people now.
it wasn't until the next year that they started getting more full-time.
Yeah.
And we felt like they were using our funds at that time.
But I'll still try to recreate that Excel, just to double check, but at the time, that's what I was primarily looking for, was fundraising and payroll. But let me see what I can do as far as making that more detailed.
And I would say, I know we talked about the parameters. Is there something we want them to focus on
For what?
for the next audit?
He's
Sounds like they're
doing
already
everything
doing that.
on both of them that he's supposed to do. It's not a forensic audit. He is
Right.
looking for any kind of fraud or anything.
Yeah.
So,
And can I, do you still need me to talk on the forensic audit, like definitional?
yeah, that's part, also what I was gonna ask you.
Sure.
Define what a forensic audit is so that we all understand it.
It is an audit used in court. It is a term that is not an engagement that we have a technical, like, engagement letter for. You know, there's nothing on the CPA exam or anybody's business that has forensic audit listed. There's just audits, reviews, compilations, things like that. But a forensic audit is an audit now being used in court. We kind of have used that term almost kind of appropriately, but we just keep using it to mean like looking at everything.
Mhm.
But there's no technical term for forensic audit. It would almost be either an audit or an agreed upon procedures or a consultation that directs us to say, either look at a group of transactions, or it could be look at every single transaction that happened for the year. And I think that's why those get so expensive, is because people just assume that what you're asking for is to look at every single transaction for the year and recreate the entire year.
Mhm.
But it could be even narrowed and focused and say, okay, don't look at Office Depot, you know, focus on things that are purchased like at gas stations or jewelry stores or
Amazon.
whatever, Amazon, things like that. But an audit still will cover a lot of these things, but it doesn't look at every single transaction because your Office Depots and things aren't necessary. Unless there were, you know, a massive variance in Office Depot, then we will look at it, but.
So having said that, let me ask this question. If the audit that you're gonna perform for this next fiscal year, and you find things in there
Extra.
that are, you find things of fraudulent nature, can your findings be used in a court of law, or does it have to be?
I believe the audit can be used in a court of law. I think it doesn't have to have a technical term, because there's no such engagement called forensic audit. It's just audit or agreed upon procedures or consultation or whatnot. I think it becomes a forensic audit the second you're using it in a court case.
It's just like you told us here on, I think it was expenses or whatever. If it was being used in court and they said, well, there's $100,000 here for whatever, what are the details of that? Obviously, you guys have the details and you can provide the details.
Sure.
Well, here's an itemized list of all those, what they were.
Right.
you're giving us the summary version, if you will, because we don't need to sit there and look at every transaction.
Right, but the internal report will have those as well. That was done by the VFD, and that's kind of what we're checking and starting out as like a base. And then we'll look at additional and determine whether or not that fits, or if it had support, and if it was for a reasonable firefighting purpose versus like personal use.
Right.
So if you, based off of your verbiage on the fraud note, the dollar amount that you have that you've been made aware of, the 65,000, will you be able to itemize what the fraud was for that?
Insofar as like categories, like putting it like office supplies fraud
Or
versus
personal
like.
use, whatever?
Yeah, I mean, we can try. I may have to talk to, because it's a little bit outside the scope of a normal audit. So like somebody handling the books internally could probably take their report and do that as well, but if you'd like for us to do it, I can talk to Debbie and say, can I fit this in the audit or not? But yeah, I don't think that'd be an issue, because you'll look at the charge and you'll know, hey, are these shoes or supplies or what? And you
Well,
just list them.
so the 11,800 for 2023, I mean, you have details of that, right?
Yeah, I'm not 100% because it's been a second, but I can go look and I can give you the details of that, but I'm pretty positive that was overpayments, like contract payments.
Right.
But I'll get, I'll ask Xavier, can you detail out the 11,000?
That's what I remember it being, that she was writing herself
More checks, right.
checks, you know, just paying herself extra money.
So I guess the larger question is when, what you're doing, if we ask for specific things for you to look at,
Oh, yeah, if you said during this month or
we
this
set
month.
those, we kind of set those extra parameters, right? That saves us
Tons.
from forensic audit that we were kind of thinking about in the past.
Right.
Because there was so much put on that name, forensic audit,
Right.
that everybody's like, oh, we have to have something like that. Well, then, that is not necessarily the case.
I would always explore your avenues and say, what is our goal and what tool will get us to that goal? Not necessarily overkill, right?
Right.
You know, what do we want to know? And can this particular time frame tool be used to get us that or not? And if you think, no, I don't trust anything that they did, we got to look at everything, then you're looking at what we've been all calling a forensic audit, but it's what has been being quoted from us and other firms, and it would cost the district a lot more than maybe it would be.
Than what's necessary to
Right,
get
but
that information.
That's my, you know, I shouldn't give opinion. You all have to
Right.
figure that out.
I tend to think, and please correct me if I'm speaking inappropriate for you all, is we want details in the sense that we know exactly, like an itemized list of what that fraudulent money, who it went to, and how it was spent. Because I do think that the sheriff is looking for that information.
That's correct.
Okay, for their case.
To categorize what it, so not
What
just
it
a
was,
number.
not just a number, here it is.
Categorize it.
On this date, on this date, on this date, here's what was spent. And so I do, at a minimum, I think that we definitely want that,
Okay,
okay?
We have
And
to have that.
we have to have that because I do, again, law enforcement is counting on these audits to help make their case.
okay. What you're describing sounds best to me like agreed upon procedures.
Yes.
Where you say, we look between this date and this date and categorize, just as you said, all the expenses that were determined to be misappropriations and detail out in subcategories, almost like the expense list, right? And come down and say payroll versus merchandise versus what?
Yes.
And then if you want, you know, put, or maybe a second list. for
Unknown
dates.
caller.
Can you get that for me?
No, I think that's perfect. And if we need to give you something in writing asking for that, please let us know, you know, relay that to us and we can get it to you.
I just need to go back to the office and I need a, because, you know, I'm senior manager, I'm right there, but I need a partner to say they'll put their name
I
on it.
get you.
The second I get one of them to say I'll do it, I'll draft you guys up an engagement letter, but it's significantly less when it's more targeted. You know, it's not-
So,
Matt, I have a question for, what was the dollar amount, do you remember, that they,
Insurance.
I want to say
76,000.
it was 76 and change.
it was
Yeah,
76
76,000.
that you were, that the insurance recovered?
Yes.
Right.
Okay. I'm sorry.
That, I do remember that number. It was right around 76, 77,
I just
something like
thought, I
that.
thought I remembered the live video thing that he did was like 90-some thousand, so that's why I said, Ken, you had a comment or question?
yes, we did receive, excuse me, we did receive a document from the VFD that, of expenses, and I don't know if they pulled out of QuickBooks, what they did. But some of those things were, they were focused around casino night, things that would have been used for that fundraiser, dove hunts, things like that. Is something like that useful to you to have that to kind of?
Because they're a nonprofit, you know, they have different, what they can spend their money on. There's a little, it's not as strict maybe as a government looking at taxpayer funds. But if they can't fund it through their revenues and then they're using taxpayer funds, that's when they're gonna get in trouble for doing such things.
That's what.
But if they can fund it, you know, I've got nonprofits that have, you know, a gun, what was it, like auction, you know, or they have like a big party that does nothing but just is a party, but then people donate and it's to a good cause, right? So nonprofits have a little more leeway on what they can do for the
Right.
fundraising. We're just supposed to spell it out in the report, this much was used for fundraising versus program. And that way they're not like the self-serving ice cream cone that just makes money to have parties, you know?
So even if it appeared that they were using our dollars for fundraising, a fundraising event, as long as they have enough revenue.
Then it's
that would
technically,
cover-
they're using their revenue for
Gotcha.
it, not your revenue.
Gotcha. Makes sense.
It makes it tough though, because the accounts are mingled, so it's kind of just
Yeah.
like getting down to the line of how much revenue do they have versus expenses and classifying.
Yeah. Example, before grant funds come in, we can use money out of a different account to pay for something, and then when the grant funds come in, reclassify
Yeah.
it to the grant fund. So it's kind of the same thing, but y'all are the ones kind of helping them
But the-
sort it all out.
But to do that, everything has to be documented and detailed of what you're doing, so that way those funds are reimbursed.
Well, that's above my head.
Yeah, you know, I should have done that in Excel. I was just thinking about it, but we'll go back and I'll put, at least for this 23 year, and we'll do it for 24 as well, but I'll try to line out specifically how the revenues can meet their expense demands for the payroll and the fundraising.
Okay.
Can I-
Did you want to say something?
Yes, please. So, we know that around 76,000, that's what was found by internal stuff. And you found for this particular year, 11,000, blah, blah, blah. And so you're gonna be looking for that other 65,000, already knowing it's probably there.
In the report.
You kinda
Yeah.
know where it's at because they all found it, a lot of it. My concern as a taxpayer is that once you hit 65,000, you're gonna stop looking. And that's why you decided to do the forensic audit in the first place, was to find every single line item, not just the, oh, we hit what insurance gave us, bravo, bravo, let's go.
So if you're concerned about tax dollars, I would say you're gonna spend, from one firm that quoted this, $75,000 to find what an internal investigation may have already accomplished for the outcome to potentially find a few thousand extra. That we're still gonna look for in the audit, but you're gonna spend an additional 75,000 of your taxpayer money on a forensic audit. So I want you to also consider the cost benefits for that, what you could potentially find versus what you're going to spend without a doubt.
Well, we got a couple things there. This is from my side, not the board, not y'all. This says, I am not putting any of you down. I'm going from my side of the table, okay? And I'm glad you brought up the law enforcement, because sheriff and the county commissioners, they came to you and asked you to look into this. I was here for that meeting. I know this. So you all said yes after a few sessions. You finally said, yes, let's do it. Because you're right, they can't make their case without this. Well, they can make a case not as strong. Number two, the word of the board, if you don't do this forensic audit, and I'm probably gonna end up saying this a couple more times the more you talk about it, your word is gonna start looking like slush if you don't do the forensic audit. I realize it's gonna cost money. People understand it's gonna cost money, but on the other side, it's keeping everybody in line. Like you're gonna find every boo-boo that ever existed through that year, for that year, that time period, whatever you're looking for. I'm just saying, I don't think the board wants their word to be non-existent anymore, because you say yes 3 or 4 months ago, and now today, or not today, but let's say in a month, you go, nope, we're not gonna do it. We don't need it because they're gonna fine line it. You don't know that because you didn't go through every single line, okay? I'm
I
not
think
saying they
Debbie, what
didn't
he's
look
saying
at
and what
good
we're saying
things.
is nobody's made a decision not to do a forensic audit. And our decision, we all agreed that we weren't gonna do it until both of these audits were completed. Because that will, if for some reason we decide not to do it, okay? It's only gonna be because we feel like we got all the information we could get out of these 2 audits. If for some reason that doesn't, but we
I
don't know
understand
that
what
right
you're
now.
saying.
Yeah,
Well,
that's still up in the air whether that's gonna happen or
And I
not.
would say too, like, we just heard the definition of a forensic audit is different from what we thought it was, right? So whenever we say forensic audit, some people are talking about every single transaction. But you're gonna be able to see how much money went in. You're gonna be able to see how much money went out justifiably, right? And then there's that gap. And I think that if we could find the gap, and then we can, what do we call it? A directed,
Agreed upon procedure.
agreed upon procedures. If we could narrow agreed upon procedures to fully investigating that gap, then that does actually constitute a forensic audit.
And to kind of
Maybe,
piggyback,
what do you think about
It
it?
is. I mean, that's what he's telling us. Is that
No, I
that's the
understand what you're
definition of
saying,
a
and I'm
forensic
not
audit.
saying he's wrong.
I think
I'm
we
saying if you say out loud, we're not gonna do one,
Oh, no.
you might hear it,
You said
is
you
what,
did one.
I'm just
well, I
giving
would
you
say,
that.
I would understand what you're saying if we just did it just because, right? But
No.
we have new information now.
You forget, I've been there, I've
Well,
done it.
Hey, and
I've
if,
taken the
if they
backlash.
want to kick us off this board because we made an educated decision, because somebody watched CSI and
No.
said
So,
that,
let me interject
Forensic
for a minute.
audit.
Let me interject.
That's the problem I
Hold on
think
a
we're
minute,
having.
Hold on a minute, we're a lot of back and forth. And this last year has been a challenging year for all of us
Yeah.
on this board and for this community. And we're moving in the right direction. I believe we are. We see that day in and day out with where we're at, what we have. But we did have a meeting and we had a bunch of people from our community here that had many concerns about what was going on. And we're changing ideas and looking at things. Yes, Carl, I hear what you're saying. I don't disagree with that. And I hear what Debbie's saying. And I agree with the fact that our word right now could be on the balance of if we just make a decision, an educated decision, if you will, we still have to do it in a way that we make sure that the community is very well aware of what we are going to do. Carl, that means
Absolutely.
you being here, your partners here, we make sure that everybody, that the folks that were here at the previous meetings were here when that process started. So that way they understand that verbiage, what was that verbiage?
Agreed upon procedures.
Agreed upon procedure is a valid way so that we don't have to spend that money, potentially.
I think,
But
I think
It's still gonna
agreed upon
cost us a little
procedures
extra even for
is
agreed
the
upon
way
procedure.
to do a forensic audit. Like, that's what we're getting confused about. I think we're not talking about not doing a forensic audit. We're talking about how we might do it.
yes,
Yeah, how we
It's just
navigate
not-
it.
but we, I
it's not
think
the
there's,
same verbiage.
I think, well, but I think we're throwing around, we're not gonna do the forensic audit. I mean, in theory, the comments are being made that we're looking at not doing it or using some sort of the verbiage of that. And so people are getting concerns about it. And we put too much effort to get where we're at today. The community is starting to trust us, and that's the goal for that, to bring people back and to trust what we're doing and what ESD2 is doing. And so I think we just need to be, let's get through where we need to go. We're not making a decision tonight.
Right.
And we just need to make sure
I
whatever
never
decision we
meant
make.
that they don't trust you today.
No, 100%.
I didn't say, I understand that.
Honestly, the trust is here because look, I'm the only one from the community sitting
Well,
here.
exactly. No, I
That means
understand.
nobody's upset with you, okay?
Not yet.
So, not yet, and
But-
so I never meant that you're not trustworthy.
But your concern was something that came up. I mean,
Yeah, I've
we've
lived
talked
through
about
it myself on council, so that's why I don't want you all to
But I
live through
think
it,
even right
okay?
after our last audit, I think with Xavier, I called your office to find out about this forensic
yes,
audit.
yes.
And I said, wait a minute, I couldn't find anything when I tried to look it up. What
Yeah.
is a forensic audit, right?
Because it's
And-
agreed upon procedures.
And so
Right.
it's called agreed upon procedures. So,
I mean, yeah, just.
I think
just
that
goes to court.
term forensic audit, people think, oh my gosh, that's.
And
CSI or,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
it's really
right.
just something that goes to court,
Yeah,
is used
but
in court.
it's really the real term is agreed upon procedures.
I think that's what, yeah, is used to get that. And it could be as simple as looking from a period to literally everything.
And I think if we explain, if that's the route we go.
Well, the thing
we
is
explain
that
the difference in that. I
There's
think we'll be
multiple,
fine.
there's key people, Debbie's right, we have a lot of folks that are leadership, the sheriff, the commissioners, the county judge. They all want us to get to the bottom of what this is through the audit. We just need to continue to be as transparent as we can on this process.
And if I could just say one more thing, and I hope it doesn't appear that I'm leaning one way or the other, because independence-wise, I just try to do whatever you guys want me to do. But at the same time, I really don't want to make the district spend money that is not, if you don't get something out of it. I always think,
Right.
hopefully somebody gets something out of the audit. But, I keep hearing that the sheriff needs more. I'm not sure what that means, because even if we find only a couple $100 more, is that the threshold that then creates an arrest? Like, I don't understand.
They need to know where.
There's
where-
fraud being found internally and in the report. What, in my mind as the auditor, I guess that's the next question I have during my audit, is what does the sheriff need? And why do you have to spend $75,000 to $500 more to then get what you want? But again, I'm not biased, I'll do whatever you want
I'll
me to
get
do.
that information tomorrow.
Well, the sheriff, I spoke to the sheriff and I spoke to the county judge, they couldn't directly, like, ask us to do this, they can't. I mean, first off, let's just be real, if they need it for their investigation, use your budget to get it. I mean, I'm just saying, it's their investigation, it's not our investigation. If they need it that bad, then use your budget to get it. Again, we haven't made this decision, we're just talking out loud because you're here, and we're seeing some of the fraud that was already here. And I tend to think that this board will come to a good conclusion once we get the other audit. And if we can see the details, and if we can feel comfortable that what was looked for, what we all wanted to be looked for, is detailed to us, and it's something that we can provide to the sheriff for their case.
Yeah.
And I think if we can do that, whatever you want to call it, we can call it what everybody wants, but as long as it gives us the details that we needed, that satisfies us and the public, us being the public, we represent the public,
Right.
that the fraud was found.
Because you're caught in the catch-22 anyway.
Yeah.
Either you didn't do the forensic audit, so you didn't do what you said, or you did the forensic audit, they didn't find anything, and you wasted all that money.
So the fraud is the gap between what
Yeah,
came
but so I
in.
think we can do.
And again, remember
what
guys,
you're talking
if
about.
we give them special instructions, that's not going to come free.
No, we got that.
So
Yeah,
it's going to be
cheaper.
the audit plus whatever they decide that extra cost is going to
Right.
be. But possibly, after us doing that, and possibly we can get the data we need and it not cost us $75,000 or $80,000, maybe it costs us $20,000 or whatever, I have no idea what the
That'd be
number's going to
awesome.
be.
But that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
So we just need to.
Because the idea, I think, I don't think it happened past a certain month, I can't remember, so it's only a specific time.
There was a time period, yeah, well,
Yeah, there was
until
time
she was
December
arrested.
24.
Yeah.
So,
You got the arrest date, whenever that is.
Why pay for
It
the
was
month since she
December
was already
24.
gone, there
Yeah.
wouldn't.
But it's gonna be most of 24.
I think so.
Yeah,
It's gonna be most of 24, because I don't think the arrest was till September or October.
See, I was gonna say October rings a bell, right?
So it'll be up until October 1st, so it's gonna be almost that whole year.
The bottom line is, we can get that real easy, the arrest date, and that's when it stopped.
Right.
So
She's arrested.
that's easy information to get.
Somewhere in,
Well, she goes to see what she's doing.
somewhere,
We still have to go
Nancy's
farther.
saying somewhere in December.
Yeah, I don't know when she was arrested, but I know that thing with the chief happened in December. Everything kind of blew up in December.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we
And
just
she-
need to go. to
They had already
January.
found that problem.
Okay, anyways. Any other discussion
Can
about the audit?
Can I speak to one thing?
Yes, please.
This goes back to payroll. He had mentioned about a pay scale or pay, policy of some kind. Matt had mentioned that their understanding was that there was a pay policy set out at one time but he didn't know if it was, ever approved by the board or anything. That, if you had this much, if you're in this position, you get this much. If you have certification or something that's higher, you get another little bit. And so that possibly that's what they're looking for. We just haven't found that yet. We've been looking through the files And Matt's gonna try to help too, to look back in minutes or something, but we haven't found that yet. But we know that they were working off of, when the other chief was here, they were working off of some kind of scale.
I can confirm it's not in the minutes. So, but a document did exist, but it never came before the board. But it is what they had in place that they were using for all of the fire staff.
Just to try to find it.
All right, any other comments about the audit? Carl, do you have anything else you got to add?
We'll get busy. I agree, I mean.
Carl, we
I understand
appreciate it,
full
we really do.
transparency.
He's not coming to the next meeting.
No,
All right,
We
thank you very much
definitely
for
appreciate it.
taking the time to come down here.
Yep, thank you, Carl.
And we'll keep you guys informed of our progression.
Tell Xavier we said hello,
I
we
will.
appreciate his work.
Oh, you had some.
I doubt that, yeah.
I will just leave it through.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
Okay.
All right, reading and approval of the minutes, I know the minutes were put out, but everybody have a chance to read the minutes.
I
Do
do
you
have
have
a
any
couple.
corrections, discussion on those minutes?
Couple of corrections. Under number 4, complete ESD2 audits should not be plural. So we'll strike that S and make it singular because it's only for the 24-25 audit. And then also under number 6, Devine VFD business financial audit update. The item was approval of auditor's engagement letter for VFD audit 23-24. Added the note, this document was brought to the meeting for a necessary signature. Those are the changes.
Anything else, any discussion?
That's right, I didn't even update you guys. Y'all's ESD2 audit is in review. So it's moving along quickly, so
That's the one that's shady.
Because ours is easy, because we have a great
Ours is easy.
bookkeeper.
Yeah,
Exactly. Okay.
It better not be too hard.
you better not, that's right.
Okay. Good night, y'all.
Thank you.
Be safe going home.
If not, I'll request a motion to approve the minutes and pay the bills. I'm sorry, not the bills, treasury report, approve the minutes.
You're moving right along.
I make the motion to approve the minutes with the changes mentioned.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Thank you. Now we'll move on to the treasurer's report, talk about paying the bills.
We'll do that.
This is a very short report because we didn't have hardly any money coming in. Didn't spend very much either. You can tell we're in that period between when the tax bills go out and when the money starts coming in. So we should start seeing it. A lot of people pay at the end of October, but they for sure pay by January. But we only received $2,000 in revenue for the M&O account. Our sales tax revenue was $40,387. In our bills that we paid, the biggest one that's outstanding was that we paid for the other audit, the 22-23 audit. We're setting aside another $11,000 for this next audit. And they've been working on that all along. He just took a big box full of papers back to start other work on it. Basically, that's it, 42,000 in income and 16,000 in expenses, left 26,000. That's just a recap of the money that we spent for the repairs of showers. I still noted the forensic audit down there. We might want to take that off because that's just a note for us to go by. On the back, you'll see the INS account. They had a whopping $400 that came in to that account. As I said, we'll still continue receiving income because it will be the delinquent taxes that have been occurring since we did that. Well, since we did a note on the truck in the very beginning, with the first truck that we bought. Our operating account has $520,000. With our money market account, INS account, we have $632,000. Sales tax revenue that came in on the 10th for November was $43,955. The bills are all pretty well normal. There's one big one there that you can see. First thing I want to mention is that there is a small amount of $34 that is, I was lucky. I waited long enough to get QuickBooks Online that they gave us another discount. It went to 75% off for the first 3 months. So it's only that 115 is only going to cost us $34 for the next 3 months. But I had to pay for it with a credit card. They don't do anything. They don't start anything without a credit card. And so that's the reimbursement for that. But now I go into our account and I set up where it will be an ACH payment coming out of the bank each month. The other thing that's on there is the first payment to the SD1 for $225,000. That's first quarter for October through December. So the total amount of bills to pay is $227,056.81.
And just on a side note, if you have QuickBooks Online, and you have your credit card that's paying for it, and your credit card gets frauded, make sure you go back and update your credit card, because your payroll won't go out.
Oh, my.
Just,
Ooh, that would be it.
One thing on the accounting of your sales tax, and I haven't mentioned this, but, so generally speaking, your auditor is going to bring, so your November sales tax is gonna be last fiscal year. So, because that's when it was actually bought in the district. So November is September's charges in the district. So you finished your fiscal year at $495,373.33 in sales and use tax. That's a 15.84% increase over the year prior. So if you-
Yeah, I show it as accrued sales tax because I put it into the year before. Because it's just like our regular taxes, and we get them, the first payment that comes in is actually for the month before, the ending of the month before. So, yeah, we did finish very well on sales tax this year. And we may see more in the next couple of months because of the spending that's gonna hopefully go on during Christmas and everything.
Oh, yeah.
Another thing I wanted to mention, most of you know this already, but your applications for your positions are due by the end of this month. Oh, they probably like to send
Did you
before
get
then.
that, Todd?
On my,
You got mine?
It's yours, Ken,
I sent it to you.
I ain't gonna get mine.
and Jerry.
I haven't been able to get hold of her, she'll probably.
Well, tomorrow's my last day and I'm out until December, so I'll sometime to get it done.
Oh, you didn't?
I'll get it.
I'll get it.
I'll do it. I
Um,
will definitely send myself a reminder at work right now.
it is you and Jerry and Abby,
Yeah.
not,
I've tried to call the lady because I had a question on the last page. And I don't get any response. Their mailbox is full.
did you guys check?
Jennifer Adlon?
Yeah.
I always get her.
I don't know.
She must not
Maybe
like your
she-
number.
She blocked my number or something.
I can ask her to call you.
Yes.
Ooh, you ready for a motion?
I know you need to vote on the report, but the other thing is that we received our release of lien and everything on the note for the firehouse. So it is
Ours?
ours for sure now, until we do
Nice.
something
That's
else
awesome.
with it. And that has been filed with the county already.
I'm gonna tell Nancy, since we're a nonprofit and our government entity and we don't pay taxes, it's actually ours.
Yeah.
We pay off our house, it's not ours. We still gotta pay rent and taxes.
True.
It is.
No doubt.
How do you feel
I'm
about
like a
that?
financial advisor.
You wanna really?
Yeah, no doubt.
I don't want that on recording.
Yeah, too late.
I will make a motion to accept the treasurer's report and pay the bills in the amount of $227,056.81.
One second.
I have a motion and I have a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Thank you. That brings us to the Devine Volunteer Fire Department business.
Or the ESD
Oh,
one.
that's it. Shoot, sorry, the SD1. Meeting's at 7 o'clock, my brain's fried already.
I'll make it quick and thorough.
There you go.
All right, as administration, an interlocal agreement was provided to you, the ESD2 board. Signed, given to Chief Cook for signatures. He took it to the ESD1 board, had it signed on the 12th of November. We sent, Ms. Beadle, we sent you an email with the original copy signed. So, began oversight for on-duty crew pre-incident planning for our local businesses. So we're working our way down 173, getting down that way a good bit, so interacting with the public and figuring out what we have for buildings. Had Miss Earl start, assigned her some tasks to get her started, a lot of inventory of stuff here, PPE, SVA, all that stuff. We had meetings for the Cactus Festival Parade. I'm not sure if y'all were there for that, but had the engine and an ambulance in that parade. Participated in that. The ambulance for ESD4, we had a tent downtown. We were there all day. The ESD2, we had the engine out there and participated, got out with the public and
Great.
got along with them. I went and addressed the lieutenants, firefighters, and paramedics. Kind of went over our expectations of when they start, what's expected, how we do things. She did complete the inventory on the SCBA, PPE, and placed it in our software. So we can go in and track all that stuff now, and numbers, everything we have. And I did complete a evaluation of the breathing air compressor system. So went through everything and got a good idea of where we're at with that. From operations and training, our average response time from time of call to arrival, the first unit was 8 minutes. We did have 48 incidents. 45 of those were ours. 3 were mutual aids to Natalia. So helped them out a little bit. In the month of October, we had 7 firefighters complete 99 total hours of combined hands-on and classroom training. So the guys were getting busy.
Good.
This is going to be a long one. I'll try to get through it fast, but our district assets. Lieutenant Wells, our EBT, did a very thorough evaluation of engine 8120. Got a good idea of what's not working, what is working. The AC is working intermittently. Was worked on August 30th, 2025 by Dylan iGems. So it's still hit or miss. Foam system is not working. This is going to be with both engines. Not working, suspected to be frozen up from lack of use. Those are those things that have to be worked. You have to run that weekly, flush it weekly, and get it running, and it just wasn't. So on both of these for the foam systems, we track the wires back. There is power going to the pumps, but nothing coming out. So we got that figured out. Most likely gonna have to replace the pumps on both of them.
Is it something that's like a rebuild?
It's gonna be a whole new pump on there, on that system. The PTO on engine 8120 is not engaging. Could be the reason behind the cap system PTO generator not functioning. That's one that you gotta kind of follow the wires back and forth, and could be a switch or a relay or something like that that's making it not work. Had an oil pan leak, fixed that. Pump transmission input shaft seal has a class 2 leak. It is forming drops of oil, but it's not dripping or anything. One big one that kind of, when we're doing maintenance on a weekly basis, the cab won't raise. So when the cab raises, you access everything with the engine. We can't do that right now. So we're trying to track that down and figure out why.
Is it hydraulic or electric?
The water pump is leaking. From what he can tell, it's leaking from the backside of the pump. Could be a seal at the end of the impeller shaft. Engine 8120, that's a 2012 Spartan. Like I said before, the foam system is inoperable. Same thing. With the CAF's compressor drive shaft, we finally located it. It was not in the Connex. It was under some kitty litter in that last bay.
Gotta keep it dry.
So with thorough cleaning, the guys really went through everything and got it cleaned up, and we found it.
Great.
So next tour, whenever Lieutenant Wells is here, he's gonna try to get that on. Said he needed some Loctite in the keyway, and he can probably get it in. At that point, we can see if we can get that to start working. That's all I have for the district assets. On the project updates, did contact Mr. Summers, the guy that you talked about with the estimate. Sent over a estimate, but unfortunately, it's not compatible with our system, so we can't go with that.
What is this for? For the
Access control.
access control.
Chief Cook can give you a more thorough explanation of that, why it won't work.
I found a David Gonzalez, he works for,
Yeah.
also Uploy and anyways.
Crickets. The bus is stuck on,
Okay.
We still only ever got one quote on that last bay door that was damaged. We do have the $9,800 that was insurance money for it. If you look at it, it's hard to find out that there is something wrong with it. It doesn't mess with the door itself. I mean,
more cosmetic.
yeah, and is it really worth getting it fixed?
Yeah, you're on the one on the truck hit, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one guy that I had looked at, he's like, the purlin is bent, this and that. Yeah, if you want to get it back to perfect, is it not, like you said, it's not hurting the functionality of the door, it's just.
Because the door is operational, right?
Right.
Our recommendation is leave it the way it is.
Yep.
That's our recommendation. Spending that 10,000, we get no improved outcome.
Just have better training on people driving trucks. Did you ever see that video? Pretty goofy. I mean, it was like, you watch the video, you're just scratching your head going, how did they do that? Anyway, like that. Okay.
Ms. Earls can go over the financial report.
I have the layout of like actuals versus budget, what it's gonna look like from here on out. I think we sent them an email, if not, I printed them out so y'all can have them. And then the numbers will look way better next month. But right now, I can just tell you that, hold on, I can't remember numbers very well. So far, the budget year, we've used $63,159.02 out of our budget. But that way y'all can see these and how it's going to line up and what we'll present from here on out. And I'm sure there's loads of questions, but I probably don't have the right answer right now. I'm just gonna say that.
I'll have them.
But he'll have them, so if you have questions, he's here to help.
So what you're seeing is, and I believe some of y'all may have gotten a copy of everything. So we're managing the budget that was sent to y'all that had everything, which is ESD 1, ESD 2, ESD 4, ESD 6. That is all the funds that we are managing at ESD 1 that have been contributed by each ESD. So each ESD is broken down into their own class. So you'll see the revenue on the top side, and then every expenditure that we spend out here, from fuel to payroll to benefits to uniforms to, it's all classed to your ESD. So you get your own budget versus actual report, even though this is all the funds being managed up under ESD 1's bank accounts. But they are separated, completely separate for each ESD. We finally got the program up and running. All the budget numbers hadn't been entered whenever I ran this. We were still finalizing the budget numbers. But this is how it will be broken out from the transparency side, and we can get you the actual transaction list. I'm still working on how do we break out the actual transactions without clicking on each account. And so it'll probably be a manual process, which is fine. So like each of the ancillary ESDs are gonna have probably no more than 25 transactions a month, where we have 150, 160 on the other side. But hopefully this meets the transparency desire of all the boards. I know ours for sure. But this is all funds that are coming through ESD 1. So your $225,000 payment tonight will go on the revenue side, and it'll show up on next month's report. So you'll see the money that comes in, you're gonna see every dollar that gets spent separately So even though it's all within the bank accounts over there, it's all separated within an accounting report. And then, so by the end of the year, we'll be able to know where we sit. And we'll know month to month, quarter to quarter.
You're right.
So the 845,000, that is the starting point for a budget.
Yeah, I couldn't remember what that, so I went back through, I think, so the invoice you got tonight, I went back through and I believe I went through the notes or minutes with Ms. Beadle, and I think y'all's budget was at 900, so I adjusted, that's what it was, that's what the invoice is for tonight, because I believe that's what the
Yeah.
budget was. At the end, it's gonna be expenses, right? You're gonna see how much money we receive. Right now, the reason is just, we're in the same boat of that this quarter, we had not, we normally set about 500,000 aside to get through December or October to January in our budget process. And so we're floating, you know, about 80,000 once you include benefits and stuff from 2. We're floating the same amount from 4, which is all fine. We just, so that's why we're just trying to get everything fixed up. Future years, that's not gonna matter. It's just this year, we hadn't planned on that with the funds we had set aside separately from some other investments. But I do believe it provides a very transparent program of where the funds are, so there's no while they hit the same account. You know, when we deposit your $225,000 check, it's going into the same physical account, but it's accounted for separately.
Is this how you will be billing us on a quarterly
Yes.
basis? Okay.
Yeah, I believe so.
Instead of us writing checks, we'll
Right,
just be
front
giving.
side of each quarter, and then anything capital still y'all's, right? I mean, if we buy something, I think, you know, Chief Powers is looking at some cardiac monitors. That'd be something separate where he could come to y'all. But operational expenses are just gonna be flat quarterly payments.
Okay.
So you're not really gonna have a whole lot of, I mean, you're still paying your utilities, stuff like that. One thing we're gonna be able to do is get rid of your phone bill. We're not ready to totally talk about it tonight, but I got the quote today. So we can get into the county's phone system where we have a county extension. So we have a one-time charge of the equipment, and then we're on a VoIP line with the county. And so your phone bill goes away. Different things like that.
Great.
But yeah, we're gonna reduce the number of payments you have to make drastically.
Okay.
So any other questions I can definitely answer, but this will be the outline, and then in future months, we'll be able to say, there's gonna be a written out where we're at budget versus actual. Oh, we're concerned here, we're not concerned here, but, you know, just want y'all to see the outline of what we've come up with.
I love this format, and I like being able to let you guys handle a lot of the operational stuff. I'm wondering though, I think maybe what you're saying is we'll get a budget where you're saying like, this is how much we think we're gonna need in each line item for the year. That would be next month.
Yeah, you'll have that for sure next month, and we'll have both, we'll bring you the budget, make sure that you're good with it, it'll be within that 900, and then that's what will show up in each one of those categories once we've completed it. And so you'll constantly see the budget versus actual. You know, one of the expenses you'll see on there, we completed annual physicals for all of our staff. The folks that are assigned out here, you know, you fund 7 positions, so there was 7 physicals that were charged to ESD. But if there's anything y'all would like to see different on there, I could sure strive to make that happen, but I feel like we've really captured the intent of separation.
We're gonna be able to see how much money we give you and how much money you spend and pretty much what you spend it on. That's all we ever wanted. Are we able to pay anything tonight before we have a budget approved or not?
Are you able to what?
Are we trying to do, oh yeah, we
We've already
already paid.
approved it.
Yeah,
We already approved all that.
I'm just,
We have an interlocal agreement.
I made them.
Yeah, we have a contract, I mean, we
Okay,
have
so we're okay.
budgeted amount
So we have a
anyway,
budget.
so, and an agreement that was.
That's right, okay, yes, ma'am.
Were you wanting to ask about the air compressor and all the breathing?
Yeah, that was
another
down,
line up.
that was down in old business.
Yeah, it's an old business.
Okay, sorry.
One last thing I had from our report was our actual run statistics. Out of the 48 calls, we had the 3 to Natalia for fires. 67% of those calls were EMS related, so rescue, EMS, assist, stuff like that. 33% was fire related, which is pretty high. Percentage wise, that was, we had a couple building fires, grass fires, brush fires, so 33%.
That's a pretty neat report. It's long, but it's a good report. It shows you exactly where they're going.
And you all got that correct?
Yes. This time.
I'll take a print copy every time we meet if you don't mind, so I can stick
Sure.
it in the binder.
Yes, ma'am.
But yeah, it's nice to look at.
He gave it to us.
So for brush truck 8120, the new tires,
In the
Got a
email.
quote on it?
Oh, yeah.
Ready for you?
what is it? How much is it?
You have to print it
$1,256.64.
And is that gonna be something that's just put into the billing?
out.
The operational stuff?
I believe we have maintenance in the budget, but I'll confirm.
It was how much for tires?
$1,256.64.
For 6?
For 6 tires?
That's cheap.
Yep.
I paid $1,800 for 4. So I'm like, you know,
How'd that feel?
yeah, I was just like, what?
That's through CD Tire and Muffler and the tire.
Holy cow.
So what about
I mean,
the
they are their
rescue
trucks,
truck?
but
It's
still.
not charging. I guess we need to figure out what we're gonna do with that one. Whether we're gonna fix.
So when it comes to all the apparatus and fleet, we're preparing a presentation to make recommendations about your whole
Okay.
fleet. We're not really ready to
Excellent.
have that conversation tonight.
Fair enough.
The report you're going to read from, are you emailing that to us so we can read it along with you? Is that what you have?
Yeah.
Yes, I'll send it to everyone.
Okay, well, I don't have my email set up, so I don't have that.
Bless your heart.
To those of us that have set
Shame
it up,
on
I
me.
have it right here.
Okay, I don't think I put myself out there, that's all right.
And all this stuff is gonna be in your Teams folder too, so that you can always go back and reference it.
I have living tech support, so.
We got 2 things tonight
Yeah,
that
you
I've
do.
just been wanting pretty much the whole time, right? And it's something that looks like this, and then also a printed report from the chief. Wow, I'm so happy. These were easy to stick in the folder and hold on to.
Move on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. More questions, discussion? All right, we'll move on to the VFD.
Right. We haven't approved our minutes from last time. We've been having trouble making quorum. We also haven't finalized the bylaws updates. And because there are issues that need to be addressed and we don't appear to be able to, we have drafted a resolution of necessity and transition that would basically give you control of the board, Mr. Summer at ESD, so that you guys can implement the new bylaws that this document accepts and appoint the new board. That way, action can be taken on it. However, we have 4 remaining members on the board and 1 has been unable to make it over here to sign it. So I'm not sure if we need all 4, any input on that.
I mean, you need a quorum to sign it. I don't know, how many members do you have?
Well, actually, I mean, the necessity of, the resolution of necessity and transition says we do not have to have quorum as long as the remaining board members do approve it. But then,
So you need that one person to sign it?
well, him constantly not being available, does that mean he can be removed from the list, or,
Do you have documentation?
Y'all forward. The hard part is that y'all forward the problem. I mean, what happens when someone, I mean, throughout the years, I'm sure you've had volunteers walk away and quit that were on boards that you never heard from again.
yeah.
So,
Are they making themselves like purposely not available, do you think, just because they
No,
don't want
it's
to deal
just
with it, or-
been family issues and
Okay.
work schedules and stuff like that. It's, yeah. So-
Is there any way to track how many times you've tried to get it signed? Do you have any way to document how many times, emails
Yeah,
or text
text
messages or
messages or
anything?
I mean,
Just phone calls?
yeah, I mean, it's been a few, but.
There's people here 24/7. Can't we leave it here and let them know, hey, you gotta go by the firehouse and sign it? your schedule, when you have time, I mean, you know, there's people here 24/7.
We need that signature.
I don't know the answer to that question.
Chief Cook, you know,
I'm not sure. I mean, you know, everything comes down to who's gonna challenge it. I mean, that's really what it comes down to is.
we have 3 of the 4.
Yes.
I mean,
For
if you
how
have a
long?
quorum,
We
I
have
can't.
the president, the secretary, and treasurer. The one that's remaining is the sergeant at arms, so,
I would think
The
that-
sergeant at arms is who?
Mark Medina.
How long has the person had the opportunity to sign it for?
Not too long, it just, a week.
They've had a week.
Maybe I'd have to look back and see where we discussed it.
Oh, Martin.
Yeah, Mark.
I just saw him this weekend.
I know.
See him all the time.
Yeah, I see him out there all the time.
Yeah, it's really just been a scheduling conflict. I mean, it's, you know, today he was out of town and now he's in Castroville, you know, so I mean, it's just, you know, just been one thing after another. It's nothing critical, and he does approve of this.
He intends to sign it.
We just haven't been able to connect up.
This stuff, you normally reside at the U4 building, right? Was that something that you might be able to leave? I mean, because sometimes she powers is going back and forth. You're a constant.
8 to 5, yes.
You have no problem with that?
No, sir, not at all.
There you go. If you can give her that document, let him know that he can come by her office and sign that.
If we have 3 out of 4, can we move forward at this meeting, or do we need to wait for that?
That's what we're trying to understand.
I'm trying to figure out okay, so when you say we're gonna have control of the board, we're gonna have the majority of the board, but we're still gonna have some volunteer fire departments on this board, or just?
You're gonna have one community member, you have 2 members from, so you're gonna have a 3-person board according to the new
Okay.
bylaws. And this is the way Ken likes to set them up. You have a 3-person board, two members of the CSD board and 1 member of the community. And it's really to make sure all legal transactions can be done legally and without, you know, delay, so.
Do we have 2 volunteers from our board yet that wanna be on this board?
There's not gonna be a lot to do. Your biggest thing is to make sure the 990s get completed, that the organization still stays a legal organization. Will then, like, they'll be able to cancel their insurance and put them as an other named insured under your insurance policy. I'm assuming this board's insured. So this board would then be insured, and then the VFD would be a other named insured, so they can cancel their insurance policy. And then that board, the members then have the management liability under the board's primary management liability.
The BFIS, who insures us and who was insuring the volunteer fire department, will only insure institutions that have a contract or a duty
Right.
for emergency services. And if they don't have a contract with us anymore, they can no longer insure them. That's why they would fall under our insurance,
Yeah.
as other insured.
And the risk is totally limited.
Right.
So, it's one of those things, if you're not comfortable with it, I mean, there's nothing pressing driving this.
Right. That's kind of what I was thinking.
So, I would wait until, that way, if someone from the past gets concerned about it and there's a legal challenge, let's take the time to do it 100%.
Get that 4th signature.
Yeah.
Jerry
Because there's just
or
nothing.
Martin will tell him, get your butt up there.
If I'd have known that this weekend, I'd have told him,
No
hey,
lie.
Nothing,
you need to
yeah,
get
nothing is, I mean, there's nothing hanging on that being done. Obviously, we know there's an intent to have it done, and so that's the good part.
Okay. All right. Financial audit, that was already
Yep.
done. ESD funds.
You're gonna get
I do
control of
have
them all.
the
we're gonna
financial
do a
report
so, yeah.
from the last meeting. It's still in draft, but the ESD account started September 1st with $86,726.49 and an ending balance of $41,316 even. So we have we did approve to pay a few bills at that meeting, and some of those were ESD bills for well, as mentioned last time, there was some outstanding, some old bills. So, so yeah, I don't have, what the numbers are at this point. But yeah, that's where we stood at that.
So those bills have or have not been paid yet?
We did get those bills paid,
Okay.
yes.
And they have all been put in the mail, because I did it.
Very good, thank you.
What a pal.
Now, we don't have a bookkeeper right now, so QuickBooks is a little out of sync, and I mean, I don't know that stuff.
Yeah.
So,
Ms. Earls is gonna help out with that.
okay, awesome.
What about the fire department funds? How
Fire
much is that?
department funds, we started September with 159,162.50, and we ended it with 69,582 even. Well, I'm thinking it was even, there's no cents listed here. But the big chunk of that was paying for the new bunker gear. So that check did get, from a grant that had
So that was grant money that's paid out then?
I'm sorry?
That was grant money
Yes.
that was sitting in that account paid out?
Yes.
And that bunker gear is where?
It's in the
It's
bay,
the-
it's all inventoried and in our system.
Gotcha.
Okay, good.
Thank you all for bunker here.
So once that document's signed, then everything rolls over to us,
We'll
basically?
just keep this on the agenda.
Yeah.
So I would just, you guys, by next month, if you would like to be on that board,
Okay.
just let me know. I'm not gonna volunteer for it, I have enough on my plate. But anyone else
So-
feels
so-
like they could do that.
Yeah,
We
just,
have to find somebody in the community that,
yeah, I think he is volunteered to remain on it as the
oh,
community
okay.
rep. That would
That would
help
be a
you.
good idea.
There's some resolute knowledge there to be able to keep.
Yeah.
And then their meetings would be, it would, once or at best twice a year, run concurrent with this meeting. So it's not gonna, there's no workload.
It'll be right before or right after.
Yeah, I'd be glad to help out, but there's probably a couple points that we should discuss prior to,
Yeah,
y'all making the decision on that.
There's what now?
A couple points to discuss prior to y'all, making a decision on, bringing me on to that board.
Okay.
so it doesn't sound like that's gonna happen tonight now that we'll get the other documents taken care of.
What was the ending balance in the volunteer fire department?
41,000.
And how much of that is
No,
earmarked?
the ESD was 41,
ESD was 69.
the M&O is 60.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're right, ESD 41.
How much of that is earmarked for any grants?
Any more?
And to my knowledge, no,
That's all the rest, all
what's
the grants are
at this
paid
point.
out.
Now, there's more grants to be coming in. They have paid it out, but
Right.
there's about 300,000 in grants that still need to come, still need to be paid. And I'm not sure, I think it might be a reimbursable grant. It's one that we were checking into. They extended, it was supposed to be up in '24 and they extended to '27 for the fire department.
So we'll need to get the details on that and what it can be used for.
Yep.
The VFD board one.
Deb, what you girl? You're gonna help with that.
All right, anything else? More discussion? Moving on to old business, security upgrades update. Recommendations for securing and tracking fuel requested during October meeting. Any changes on that?
My recommendation would be to use our fuel cards and resort to that during emergencies. If power goes out, like you spoke about, we have that as a backup, but with the gas cards, it's easily tracked. We can go each card to each unit. This is how much they used and track it a lot better.
Y'all have, Voyager, right?
We do,
Um,
and that's in the budget already.
The Voyager?
We plan to, that'll operate within the same budget we're already operating.
So is that something we have to fill out paperwork for, or to get cards for each?
No, because
unit?
it's ours,
Oh, it's y'all's?
yeah,
Okay.
so,
So the fuel that's out there will be for emergency and I'm wondering how to maintain that. I mean, what's the shelf life of diesel these days? You know, I have no idea.
I would say we
Use that.
use what's in there if we can, get it, and then when we think we're gonna have a snowmageddon or something, we'll
We fill it.
get it filled up or something. That fair,
You do that.
Chief? Unless you have any other thoughts?
Yeah, I don't think the same thing, I don't know how long it'll last in there. I mean, I know there's additives you can add to it and whatnot, but I
It
don't
makes the
know.
most sense to empty that tank.
Yeah.
You do that.
See, it makes no sense too, or?
That makes the most.
Oh, it makes
Sorry.
sense.
Yeah.
Is a fuel tank something that we could sell if we didn't need?
Sure, you can, you know,
Yeah.
get those
I'm
for
not sure how much you're gonna get for it.
You're gonna get too much.
Just
easily
just poke.
accessible, you know.
It's still not a bad idea to have for an emergency situation, possibly,
Sounds good.
so, later.
How much, do you remember, anybody remember how much?
Shut down.
Wasn't that
Never.
much.
No, it wasn't outrageous. I want to say the whole gig out there was 5,000,
That was
4,000,
what I was
something like
thinking,
that, I want to
something like
say.
that, yeah.
So if we empty the tank, we won't need to keep it secure. And if we only fill it up for emergencies, we're not too worried about security.
Right.
Right.
All right. Firehouse door update. I know you mentioned a little bit, Chief, on that.
Yeah,
And we kind of agreed, just leave it alone.
Yep.
I mean, I'll take y'all's recommendation on your ones using it,
Keep
so.
the insurance money in
Yeah. We have
Air compressor.
So I sent you guys communication on that by email. I have since had more communication with the company, and I don't feel comfortable dealing with that today and going over it. I think we need to explore more options because there was a little bit of change, so I don't feel comfortable.
Okay.
there with that particular company.
I don't feel comfortable with certain communication I've had. Nothing bad, just changes, so.
All right. All
Next
right.
meeting.
Moving into
New business?
new business, discuss, take action, appoint ESD board members. I think we already kind of put that to rest for a minute, right? For the VFD.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Donating outdated gear.
So I do have an individual, Ismael Aldaba. He has a company called Fundacion 911 Mexico. He's out of Acuna. They did participate in Kerrville with the rescues. They're interested in any gear that we can give them. And we have 48 pieces of gear. They're not all the same thing. You have jacket here, pants here. They're not together, but we have 48 pieces that we can donate to them, if y'all are okay with it.
I mean, I'm assuming there's not much market value to them, so the best use of it would be to donate them to somebody that's gonna use them.
They're outdated for our standards, but
Correct.
not theirs.
Is there any red tape or hoops that we have to go through whenever we let things go, or we're able to just donate them if we don't need them?
As long as we don't test them, do any kind of advanced tests on them or anything like that, we're okay.
The challenge is who owns that gear.
Right.
I believe the VFD is, to my knowledge, I don't believe the ESD has a record of any inventory that the ESD is tracking. The VFD is likely to
How's that?
has that gear. The problem with gear in Texas is like, we can't, so our department, we by law cannot, because we're a regulated agency. And so Texas adopted a standard within the NFPA that says we must destroy gear. So we don't want possession of that gear because then we have to destroy it by law. We've never had possession of the gear. And so the VFD is the one that's had ownership of it. And there's a couple avenues in Texas for donating. One of them is also through the Texas Forestry Service Helping Hands program. But in Texas, because they've adopted 1851 as a standard, it became a law, which means gear cannot be used more than 10 years past its shelf life, or its manufactured. So it gets real tricky.
And this gear meets that standard.
So with that,
It's past 10 years.
so we wouldn't even want to donate that to another VFD or anything like that, or like a startup, somebody that's starting up?
Because it wouldn't
Probably
be-
not.
Well, if we can donate it, why not donate it to that guy? But if we, but do we need to wait until the VFD transfers over and then have that board decide that?
That'd be a good idea.
Something to table until we get that established. But yeah, we can't donate it to another
So I would move that to old business next month.
I think it has,
Or I guess it'll still be, no.
it just needs to go on the VFD's first agenda, right?
Probably.
If we'll have that by next month.
It'll be 2 months.
Yeah, probably 2 months, first of the year.
It'll be 2 months, okay. All right, safety concert, conference. I think most everybody here on the board plans on attending. I don't, my position on that, you guys, I know we went back and forth on, personally, if somebody wants to stay the night, stay the night. If you feel like there's a benefit to do that, I'm not, just because I just prefer to keep my own bed. And if there's networking to be done, and it has to be done after hours, after we get through with safety during the day, then I can hang out and I can still drive home, so.
So can I ask a couple questions, because I need to make sure. Okay, so this is what I have so far. Todd is not staying in the hotel, you're not bringing a guest to the meet and greet and that kind of stuff. Okay. Wednesday, Chief Cook, another deal that we're doing Wednesday night? Is that my understanding of what Polly said?
I haven't heard, I know there's a desire since all four, probably 3 boards, or not everyone's met everyone, kind of put together a dinner to where, kind of a networking dinner between the 3 ESDs that are kind of doing business together, just so everyone has a face and just a relaxed environment to get to know each other.
So that'll be up in the air, but you said you were good with that. So, okay. Then Abigail, you said you wanted to stay?
No, I thought we were all gonna stay, so I said,
Well,
okay, because at
I
first
mean,
I said I
it
wasn't gonna
doesn't-
stay.
Well, let me sway you. If you want to stay, you feel like
I
there's
think-
benefit, then stay, you know?
I don't know that we really looked at the total
I
cost.
think that's the thing.
Okay,
That was,
Okay.
once I realized that that's a lot of
Okay.
money.
It is.
However, I'm just thinking, there's some of us that have to be back that next morning.
Right.
right.
So is Wednesday night, I mean, can you do one night?
You can do as many nights as you want.
So
So it's not
Yes.
restricted to
when is the
that.
bulk of the conference? Is it Thursday or Friday?
Friday.
When is the?
Friday.
So in theory, then,
But there's one class you need to take, the beginning ESD 101 class that
okay,
everybody needs,
Thursday
including
morning.
myself
and that's
again.
Thursday morning.
And that's Thursday morning, yes.
And I can't make that one.
It's Thursday afternoon.
I haven't seen the schedule, so don't.
I don't,
Y'all
yes,
been working on
okay,
this.
I know, so it's Thursday, but it's in the time that you need to check in for your hotel room, so that's why we were getting a room Wednesday to where you were there already for it. But I haven't seen 100% of the times yet either, because they won't put them out until closer to.
We
the
reserved a
meeting.
bunch of hotel rooms. We can always cancel hotel rooms without reservation, without charge.
So think about it, email me, call me, whatever y'all want to do, y'all talk amongst yourselves, and it's fine.
So basically, the plan is we would meet Wednesday evening, have a dinner amongst all ESDs,
Yes,
check into the hotel,
yes,
be there for that way we're not having to do that
Thursday.
Thursday morning.
right.
And then, once we have the meeting, the class is Thursday all day, or is it certain?
There's just one class to my knowledge Thursday, and then right after the class is that meet and greet that we were talking about. So to come back Thursday night, hang out, do whatever you're gonna, and then Friday is the majority of the classes all day long, and then Saturday till noon.
I can make it to it if it's Thursday afternoon, but the real reason we put this on the agenda was, right, in case we needed to adjust our budget.
And
Very
another
definitely.
question was to see if she could go.
Yeah, we would like to know if you can.
Sorry, Ms.
Is the
Pepper.
cost, is the cost of the registration $295 if it's done by what date?
So everything is already, all I have here is the cost of the room, I'm assuming.
I
That's all
thought I
have
saw
here.
somewhere that if the registration was done by
December 1st.
December 1st, it was
Yes.
$295, maybe?
Yes.
Is that for rooms or for conference?
That's the conference.
But the problem is
So-
they don't give us a class schedule of what we're taking.
Yeah.
Or
But
what classes are
you pay
available.
the same no matter whether you
Right.
just go whatever. So
Yeah.
if everybody on the board is going, that's like $1,500 for the registration itself. And then $296 a night,
$269.
I don't think anybody's. gonna say.
$269 a night
Yes, ma'am.
for how many ever staying, whatever
I think
nights.
we're going to.
So, that's the amount we need to, because we have $500 in the budget. We've never put anything in the budget for training, which shame on us, because we should have had this training a long time ago.
Yeah.
And we need to have it every 2 years.
Okay.
So, I don't know what to tell you to extend the budget to. Depends on how many nights people are staying.
So the class is Thursday morning. till
Mid-morning, yes, sir.
Mid-morning, and then there's an an evening event
Mhm.
that happens, so
Yes.
there's a gap, I assume, is that what you're telling me?
Very small.
Very small,
Like an hour
because
gap, or?
the Thursday pre-conference and ESD 101 classes are followed by the Thursday evening meet and greet at 5 to 7. And I can't tell you the exact time of the,
There's an exhibit hall preview too.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We were going anywhere.
Okay, if it's $269 a night and everybody stayed one night, 5 of you
Because I
stayed
wanna-
one
I wanna
night,
make sure I'm
that's
there that morning.
$1,300 for that,
I mean, I'm just-
$1,345.
I mean, that's fine, we don't have to, two hotel nights, maybe fine, whatever, I don't know what time the Friday can continue. I'm dealing with that right now, I'm driving back and forth to
Yeah.
San Antonio, because I'm in a conference, and I've been there since yesterday, and I gotta drive back tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not really fun, have to walk out there when, I'd say fun, but I'm not looking for fun, but there's a lot of just talking, there's a lot of networking going on, and I'm walking to my truck to come home, when there's other people that are sitting there and they're networking, they're talking and doing things that I could be doing also. So I'm not looking at just for, I'm talking about networking.
So to my understanding, Friday is, it's going to be back-to-back-to-back classes. So you figure out which ones y'all are more interested in, individually, as a group, whatever y'all want to do.
And we'll help you with that.
And
Okay.
it's just a good, I don't know.
I would, if it was me, I would recommend that you stay Thursday and Friday night. Okay. Friday night's probably the most important. I say most. That Friday night's when all the vendors are gonna be looking to bring in, there's gonna be events, and Friday night's usually a pretty late evening. Wednesday, I'll find out if we're doing what we're doing there. So whether it's Wednesday, or can we push that to Thursday with all the ESDs?
Okay, yes, sir.
We may be able to push all the ESDs getting together.
We can do
till
that Thursday, and then we're there.
Right. So I know she was working on something, I didn't realize they were doing that for Wednesday, because there's not a lot going on Wednesday. They start registration at 5 PM.
Oh, yeah, that's,
There's just not a lot going
If
on.
they do
So
it Friday night.
see if we can't push a get-together for Thursday, and then you're staying Thursday night, Friday night, or, heading home either way. But
well, if we're gonna have to be there all day Friday,
Yeah.
and we'll be there next
Friday's
Saturday,
your
I'd
long
say
day.
we stay
and then it kind of breaks loose Saturday morning.
Stay which night?
Thursday, Friday.
So what I would suggest as far as, there's no way we can know what amount we need in the budget. So I think all you need to do is authorize everybody going. I mean, the expense to go to the conference for the registration fee and hotel accommodations. Or if you're driving back and
And let
forth.
it be known, it's not that people in this board are going just to go, they're required every 2 years to have a certain number of hours through.
Right.
And the online, there's almost non-existent, get these classes
Right.
online. And so the safety conference is the most efficient and best way to go get it.
There's a purpose for this. This is,
Right.
Yeah.
this is
I'll
required.
put that out there, it's not a big party.
No, no.
It's actually
You're
continuing
looking at
education classes that we have to have.
Right, you're looking at spending $5,300.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
When do
about-
you need to know about the rooms for canceling any rooms that you might not need?
We've already secured them, so just whenever.
No, but I know, is there a deadline when you can cancel them and get your money back?
We hadn't paid.
Okay.
See, most hotels is like 24 hours, I mean,
Yeah.
usually.
4 hours
So-
before.
You reserved them.
They're already reserved, yes.
You haven't paid for them, but they're reserved.
Yes.
They're on hold with credit card or whatever.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And from meetings in the past, the meet and greet, is an evening thing, and there's probably networking that goes on after that.
Quite a bit.
Yeah.
Right.
So then you got all day Friday, and then Friday night is networking as well.
Yeah, and what you're gonna find.
That's where you get into the
You're gonna be
vendors.
visiting with all these other ESDs, and then you're gonna go, wow, we all face the exact same challenges.
Yeah.
And this is how I took care of it.
And
This
that's
is-
how they figured stuff
Yeah.
out, yeah.
The other thing that, we would, as we look towards that, one of the things we've done with all the ESDs is, we generally bought one shirt, just so you have a shirt that just kind of identifies who you are. We want to do that anyway to get photos for y'all for the website. I'm kind of picky on the small things.
You don't like my picture up there?
So,
But anyway, we'd like to order y'all some shirts here pretty quick. We're probably going to, so a lot of the stuff we'll be able to have in our budget, so. But we'll get back to you. I mean, there's no decision going to be made tonight for safety. It's in January, end of January,
Okay.
so.
Do you want a motion to authorize conference?
we can do it now.
I got it.
Well, we have to have the registration done by the 1st of December, so that has to be done for sure.
I will make a motion to authorize conference registration and hotel fees to attend the safety conference in January.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay.
Do you want
Motion carries.
any coin?
All right.
I didn't know you were out. I did not know you were
All
out.
right, this one I'm guessing is Abigail here, Administrative Procedure Manual. Is that
Yes,
you?
yes, so we're, one of the things, just
As
to
long as you're doing it, I'm in favor of it.
figure out how things are being done.
I'll second it.
Just maybe something to where we put on paper how we're doing the things, right? Like, so we're paying quarterly payments in advance, right? And then capital expenditures are coming this way. Just something to put on paper. And maybe too, if Miss Earls and I work together on, she's gonna draft the minutes and then send them to me, that'll save me some time there and I'll be able to get them to you guys faster. But just what are some of those just procedures that we run through?
An SOP.
Mhm.
An SOP.
Just something like that. If
Continuity.
anybody would be, and that might be something that Miss Pepper would be really helpful on too, because she's our accountant. If we just wanna kind of have that stuff sorted out and in writing, that way if, I don't know, if I get run over by a bus,
Oh, God, don't say that.
then
You
so-
survived
then
last
whoever
time.
comes next will know how we do things or whatever.
Yeah.
Or, just if there's any turnover, it's nice to have something like that to where you can say, okay, this is how we're doing things. Not just because we decided to do it, but because we actually have it
Not because
written
it's
up.
always been done that way.
Yeah, so it could be a subcommittee who brings something and then we just, whatever we need at the time, we get it approved, and if we need to change it, if we need to add to it, then we add to it and approve it. It's the kind of thing auditors like to be able to see, you have a way that you're doing it and it's written out. So that's my thinking, kind of like y'all's idea to have a subcommittee that's thinking about how we can work with the other ESD, similar to that kind of thing. Subcommittee who can recommend a procedure manual of some sort. And I don't mind doing it. I'll be one of the people on it. I think Ms. Pepper should be on it. Or not maybe officially, but we want her to be advising on it since she's handling all the money. I didn't know if anybody else would be interested in being on it. Or if y'all would be
Miss
interested in
Earls,
having
Miss
it.
Earls is thrilled to do that, Vicki.
Say it again, oh, yes,
Miss
Ms. Earls
Earls
is
is thrilled.
definitely.
She was over there jumping on her seat, pick me.
I will say, so some of that is addressed in the interlocal, like the
Yeah.
financial side.
Yeah.
So that's addressed in the interlocal. But I think it's good.
Okay.
So it's gonna be the 3 million.
So it would be secretary, accountant, and business office manager.
Yeah.
Kind of just has a little bit of a procedure manual, okay?
She's the bomb. Business.
Okay, I think Nancy's gonna speak to this, but the surety bond that we need to have on our treasurer.
Yeah, we found out that there's a Texas Health and Safety Code that says that the treasurer needs to be bonded separately from the board. The board does have, with the insurance, we are covered for crime and theft and things like that. but the treasurer needs to be bonded. They were telling me that we needed to check with the Medina County Clerk's office. They didn't know anything about it. And they referred me to the judge's office, and so I did get back with Jennifer, and Jennifer told me that she and the judge discussed that we need to have a bond of $75,000 on the treasurer. I checked with our insurance company. They do bond, and they bond with the same company that ESD1 has, which is Texas Mutual. I mean Merchants Bonding, sorry, I said that wrong. So she sent me the application that needs to be filled out. She said it will be anywhere from $500 to $750 for the bond, that it could be lower, at like possibly $300. I said, well, what's gonna determine it? And she said she really didn't know, that they, once they see the application, they decide how much to pay. Do you know what y'all paid?
We were around 400 to 500.
Okay.
And
I knew it wasn't gonna be expensive.
we, I would, come January, you gotta reappoint positions on the board.
Yeah, and I asked her if we did, we have one treasurer now. If something happened, we had somebody else, we have to
You'd have to
do it
rebond
again.
that person.
You know, it's another bond.
So-
And there is, depending on where the bond sits as far as the length of time, whether they would give us any money back. You know, like if we'd just gotten a bond, maybe they would apply it to the next one. But we can wait until January unless everybody knows for sure at this time that we're not gonna let Ken be anything other than the treasurer.
Yeah.
But then you're still running a 12-month bond generally,
Yeah.
and so
I think we wait until January.
I don't
We have
think
an
that-
insurance policy
I mean,
that covers.
the county hasn't enforced this rule. I brought it to them last year when we did ours. I'm surprised the clerk advised they didn't know about it. 'Cause
Well, they
definitely-
found it. I mean, they sent me a copy of the bond.
Oh, okay, okay.
Eventually,
I was gonna say, 'cause
you-
we definitely filed with the county clerk last year
Yeah.
when we started. But that was in, I think, that email I sent y'all, just some of the things that we have to make sure that we're doing, that we want to keep, you know.
Yeah, I think it would be good, well, because you're up for reelection too, or, you know, certification, whatever you call it.
It may not make it through.
And you never know. When they find out all that stuff about
I
you.
know, right?
What I'm
How do y'all
curious
feel
about-
about that? Do you wanna get it right now, or you wanna wait till January?
Here's what I'm curious about.
It's a 30, 45-day process.
Yeah. takes
Because they're
time.
gonna do a background, like you have to submit, the individual has to submit a packet which includes a lot of their personal information. And then they do a background check,
Oh, never.
and so,
So we don't know if Ken's gonna do it or not.
so it's
I gotta
a,
go through that.
it doesn't happen the same day.
Yeah.
I think it's about 30, 40 days to get ours done.
That's
So
Timothy
if
Fulton.
we know
That's all, I
in
dropped
December that he's been approved and, you know, he's gonna be, then we can start the process at that
process.
time.
Yeah.
So this is required for our official treasurer, but isn't it prudent to bond your accountant? Or no? Like, I mean,
Well, I don't know, but I did ask that question about with our insurance, am I covered? Like the board is covered, am I
She is,
covered
because she's
also?
contracted through us.
And she said, yes, if you're contracted or an employee of, but if you are contracted, if they have a contract with me, then I am covered, just like their contracted person
Okay.
was. So,
good, okay.
And going through the background check is a good thing, because like me, I go through it every single year. When I applied for my global entry through the TSA, it was approved like that. And other people I know took a month to get it approved. They're like, how did yours get approved so fast? I said, the only thing I can think of is they check me so often, that they just know, you know? It was
You're like
already
a
in there.
TSA pre-check.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we'll table that till
Yeah.
January.
Because it's just the treasurer
Yeah.
only.
That's the
Not-
treasurer,
We
yeah.
don't do one for Jerry, just
no,
one
they said
person.
just the
Gotcha.
treasurer.
Yeah.
But if you change treasurers, you have to do it for the new person then.
Yeah.
And it's like you said, it's a year bond, so it would be done every year.
Awesome. All right. Anything else?
Yes, I have a question on something, another topic, and I didn't get it on the agenda, my apologies, but Chief Cook, the last time, when Ken and I met with you a few months ago, when we were having this process, we talked about investments and stuff like that, and I know that there's some opportunities possibly for moving some of our monies around, for possibly seeing an increase in our money market account or something like that. We can talk about it
Yeah,
a bit
absolutely.
tonight, or we can wait till next month.
I mean, I can give you an update. We found that our best investments have been with one of the, what they call pool funds for governmental investments. So we use Texas Class. There's Texas Class and Texas, I can't remember what the other one. We use Texas
Star.
Class. We've been, on average, we've had about a 4.4% return consistently over the last, so they have a set rate, it literally adjusts weekly. And it's, the difference with using Texas Class versus like a local bank is it's secured through the government funding side. Where like a local bank, when you have more than 250,000, they have to show you and send you the updates of, hey, we have your money secured via, and they show you all the houses you own. Or whatever they bought security.
The bonds they buy generally, yes.
Right, and so those class, the pool funds, the governmental pool funds are a great avenue for the investments that you know are secured. They're backed up by the law, and they generally have a little bit higher return.
Now, I looked into this once before and read into it in the law book that Ken Campbell gave us, because we did it for ESP4 one time. And we had to have an investment policy committee, an investment policy statement, you know, through the board.
You
To be able to
do-
maintain and be able to do that.
Well, no.
Because the policy has to like lay out and dictate what you're going to invest in, plus it's very restrictive what you can invest in. So something he's talking about sounds like one of the restrictive investments you can invest in.
You are supposed to have an investment policy. You need, so by default, your treasurer is your investment officer. The investment officer must have investment training,
That's what he's bonding.
but
Shoot.
when you really dig into the law, they only have to have training if they're actually choosing investments. So by going into like a class or something like that, you're deferring, you're not actually taking the money and making the decision on where it's going.
Right.
So the treasurer or your investment officer is not bound by that required training.
Yeah.
So we have a separate investment officer, we pay a very nominal fee to, who also advises, I think we pay like $200 a month. Just to have another eyes look at our, and he prepares our investment financials each month, just so we have another eyes look at them, another set of third-party eyes that look at our money, the district's money. And so, but the class funds, I know we just moved ESD4 to the class fund for their reserves.
I remember this is quite a few years ago when I did this for ESD4, wasn't it? Maybe it was through my broker dealer, but somewhere there was some special reporting that had to be done to keep track of things. Maybe it was just through my broker
Yeah, I
dealer,
bet it
maybe that
was.
wasn't a requirement. It's been
But-
too long since I did that.
But the board does need an investment policy.
Yes.
You're welcome to, we can change the logo on the one I sent you, and y'all can adopt it. It has to be reviewed annually and adopted annually.
And it's basically just gonna lay out like what you're allowed to invest in, which there's already a lot of restrictions in the laws that we're bound by on what you can invest in, but.
But yeah, every ESD, if you read in chapter 775, it's gonna tell you have to have an investment officer and an investment policy. By default, your treasurer is your investment officer. But if they're gonna make those decisions, then they have to go through some special investment training and have CE in that. Or you can designate the investment officer duties.
Or, yeah, if you were gonna really, which again, is almost impossible to do, like take some real risks in equities and whatnot,
Right.
you would have to,
You could buy school bonds.
yeah, you can buy a school bond, but if you're gonna go actual equities, you would have to go into I don't think they would even let you, if they would, it would have to go into what's called an advisory program where you aren't making the decisions, all you're doing is saying, here's my money,
Right.
you're the experts, y'all take care of it and make the decisions.
And so the pool funds take all that requirement away and they do all that.
Yeah.
And that's why they're the easy button when it comes to investment.
How liquid are they? How,
They're no
Long does
different
it
than a
take?
bank account. Just log on, you can move
Okay.
money out of them same day.
because I know we have excess funds, I just didn't know how long it would take to get it out if we needed it.
Same day.
It's like a normal checking account or a
They're
normal
just
savings
probably
account.
investing a lot of that money into short-term bonds and whatnot, similar to a money market fund, I would guess, but a little higher
But
yield.
if you'd like, I can have the rep send you some information and an application. Okay.
Thank you.
Anything else? Oh, wait, let's wait 2 minutes, yeah, about 2 hours.
The date of our next meeting is,
You said
okay, Todd, our next meeting falls on the 23rd unless we move it.
That's Christmas week, let's don't do that.
Yeah, that's not.
Y'all gonna be busy or what?
Technically, not really, I'll be off.
They have a sign over my door that says the Grinch, so.
The 16th?
No, it's the 15th.
16th would be the 16th.
Yeah.
Oh,
15th
wait,
is
am I the right
school
year?
board.
Oh,
Yeah, don't do it on the
Yeah, we can't
15th.
do it on Hanukkah.
You came what?
That's Hanukkah. 15.
What's wrong?
The third
16th.
Tuesday is the 16th.
You gotta look.
It's the 16th. So we're good with that, right? We just do the
16th,
16th.
there's
She's
a,
saying-
Oh, she's saying no.
there's a holiday
Oh, you're
concert.
not gonna be here.
Somebody gave me tickets to see The Sound of Music. And
Oh.
it's that
The
night.
holiday concert, I won't,
I am having a blonde
my kids
moment.
are in it.
It is scheduled
Can we
for
do it the
16th.
17th?
I mean, you can. Wednesday nights are usually not good for a lot of folks.
Oh,
well.
Church on
Oh,
Wednesdays.
okay.
Well,
You'd be better off Monday or Thursday.
Monday school board.
The 18th will
Monday
work.
school board is.
The
18th of what?
18th will work.
18 is what?
It works for me.
Oh, that works for you.
Thursday the 18th. That doesn't work for me. I've got a stated meeting every third Thursday of every month.
Yeah, that's hard.
So
22nd.
I say,
If y'all wanna
if
do
we
it on
go
the-
to 16th, Nancy, you can just give us your treasurer's report. We can,
Or if you want to do it on the 17th, I can do that. We're usually finished by 7.
okay.
For my part, anyway.
17th.
Oh, I just threw it out there, wasn't thinking, so I was my
I
fault,
can
I
do the
apologize.
17th.
Huh?
I can.
You can do,
You just don't want to do it
y'all can do
on
the
Christmas
17th?
week?
Let's do it the 17th then.
What'd you say?
Not, you said, so Christmas week is out, like,
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, 17th,
Okay, Wednesday, December
December
17th.
Ken, are
17th.
you okay with 17th?
I'll get somebody to cover me,
Somebody need to make a motion or we
that's
good?
fine.
Get somebody cover me.
I've got, I teach on Wednesdays.
Oh,
That's what I said, we can,
I can get somebody to cover me that night.
I mean, it's not, look, I know Nancy likes to be here, but she can provide her treasurer's report and we can go over it. I can go over it, Abigail can go over it, whoever.
Not Abigail.
Somebody can go over her treasurer's report and just keep it on the 16th. I mean, it's-
Okay.
I like keeping a stated meeting. There's always gonna be times when somebody's not gonna be here, so we'll be all right. And Nancy prepares that report in advance anyways, and so, is that okay, Nancy? Are you all right with that?
Sure. If
We've
y'all
done
don't
that
want me
before.
here, I understand.
All right.
I'll tell you, we're going into winter weather in January and February. I may not be here at one of those meetings, we have an event, so.
Yeah, exactly. All right, stick with the 16th, third Tuesday of the month. You won't be here for
That
that
one I
either?
can't. I mean, if you do it on Wednesday, I can get somebody to cover, but the high school concert is that night.
Oh, Tuesday the 16th.
Let's do the 17th.
All right.
All right,
Do the
17th.
17th.
Family guy.
I'm sorry.
You didn't say anything about the high school thing.
I'm
You
prepared
did say something about.
What did you finally decide on? What day?
17th.
17th.
I don't know if I'm gonna be here on that night. I mean, you changed my mind.
That being said, can I get a motion to adjourn this meeting?
I make most of me adjourn.
Second.
Motion and a second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Motion carries. Thank you. Outvoted.
How about next time you say it's gonna go 2 hours?